Good evening, Truck and Tractor Pull fans. We got a nice little show for you tonight. And Kendra, how are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. And we got some guy from out around Hagerstown, Maryland there.
Yeah,
Uh,
one of my interstate peeps.
your state peeps. Ben Flaherty Jr. And I will say in the background, you may hear a noise every now and then. It'll be Ben Flaherty Sr., but he won't come on the camera, but that's okay. And I've been told maybe that's a good thing. So, but anyway, it's good to have you, Ben. How you doing, my buddy?
Good, good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we'll get to Ben here shortly. We got plenty of information to go over with him, and I have a couple of bad news things to go over here. First and foremost, one of our Keystone Committee guys, Toby Markley, and of course, he's long associated with Interstate Truck and Tractor Pullers of the My Turbo class. Lost his father Gary, I believe earlier this week. So we're going to send our prayers out to Toby and his family, and also his daughter is going through something. I don't know what it is, and we wish her get well, quick wishes as well. So, and also, bad luck has struck Scott Jones again. He lost his sister earlier this evening, Donna. So long story, some medical issues, but she did finally succumb to it, and Scott's unfortunately has lost another family member within 2 years. So we want to keep our prayers out to him as well. So, like I said, we hear something in the background. But anyway,
It wasn't Dad. It was my son.
oh, okay. But so we want to send our prayers out to both families, and if y'all need anything, you know who to contact and get a hold of us. So, but we got a lot of stuff to go over here. Quick, we got a poll that happened in Zellwood, Florida. We're a little lackadaisical on the results here. I couldn't find any online for whatever reason, but I do know in the modified two-wheel drive class, Clarence Tipton, the fourth, I believe it is, yeah, or anyway, with the Tipton's Wild and Blue truck, did get the win Saturday night. I'm not sure, and I know Crystal was second. I'm not sure who won Friday night. If somebody can chime in and let us know, that would be great. And also, you have some stuff to go over there, Kendra. You say you have the modified winner and
so
others.
I think technicality down there was a big problem. I know they were having some computer issues at the beginning of the Friday night show. That's why they were delayed getting started. So I'm wondering if that's why there's probably not a lot of results out there. Everything that I received was handwritten on scratch paper. But I did, real professional. But hey, you got to make it work sometimes.
Sure.
So Ian Ericker won with his 3-engine modified, locked and loaded on Friday night. And I believe he won Saturday night as well. Don't really know completely. There was a lot less people there, so everybody else was busy. I do know that Timmy won on the New Holland TM 130, usually driven by Shane Scott on Friday night. And the, I forget her name, but the yellow tractor known as A Horse with No Name won on Saturday night. And apparently that's going to be Ben's big competition this coming weekend in Ocala. At least that's the rumor on the street. Speaking of Ocala, that is where Ben and I are both headed down to this weekend. Super excited about that. The class lineup looks like they are having non-blown two-wheel drive trucks as well as pro stock two-wheel drive trucks. The light limited super stock class, blown mini rods, as well as the Florida mini rods, the 6200 blown two-wheel drive trucks, 6200 pro stock four-wheel drive trucks, and my personal favorite, the 8000 light limited tractors. Wow, getting all kinds of confused here. Friday night show starts at 6 o'clock, as well as Saturday night. It is at 2232 Northeast Jacksonville Road, Ocala, Florida. Sounds like they have all kinds of room, all kinds of bleachers. Ben, correct me if I'm wrong. It's indoor, but it doesn't have all the same indoor like smoke tubes and all that. So you will still get to see the smoke from the tractors.
Yeah, it's pretty much outside. It's just like a great big massive tall horse barn that's open on all four ends. So yeah,
Okay.
the smoke there's no smoke tubes. Smoke is a little hazy in there because there's only so much they can do with it. They try to do different things over the years, try to get it out quicker,
Mm-hmm.
and they do a pretty good job with it. But yeah, there's the good thing about that was it's never going to get rained out. So
Yeah.
weather is never an issue.
It's like a big pavilion, I guess you could say, really.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah, it's big. I think it's about a 280-foot track, somewhere in that
Wow.
ballpark, maybe a little less. 280s. Yeah, 280s in the sands, but they try to stop you around 260ish.
And it sounds like there's a lot of tractors from up north here going down. Ben's going down. The blue tractors are staying down. Sounds like Pear and Bean, the Alice Chalmer is going down. So going to be a lot of local guys down there.
Tonight.
I don't know. I'm all tongue tied and
talking about trucks instead of tractors, and then things to Alice Chalmers. You got Normal in mind or something, or?
Well, no. I'm thinking of everything I have to do before. What day do we leave? Friday. And then turn around and go right out to Indiana. It's going to be great.
And speaking of Indiana,
yes.
You guys saw today, I guess, somewhere, that the pool at the Michiana Event Center for Wet Smokin Promotions, as you see in the scroller down below Kendra, is 100% a go. That was the word today. So,
yep, there's still tickets for sale. Yep.
And that's whatsmokin.net.
Yeah.
For more information. So
Adam's helping me out here. Looks like Olivia Lewis is the name of the driver of A Horse with No Name.
Okay. Very good. So it's going to be, I hope the regular season goes off without a hitch. We hope. It's outdoors, so it's time to go pulling. I'm ready to go pulling. I know that. But let's see. So I guess we're ready for Mr. Benton then, huh? That's pretty much all we really have to go over. I'm going to bring it up, whether you want to hear it or not. There was a new modified debuted for the Forester camp at Zellwood. Corey Forrester, I think Dale, you said, did the driving, but
yep. Dale did the driving Friday night. The tractor definitely needs some adjustment, which what first time out tractor doesn't. So it came home to Pennsylvania, but it is headed south again. I believe they leave out tomorrow.
Yeah, that's great. And that would be Dana Freeman's old Hammer Time modified to Corey Balt, and we wish him well. Hopefully, he'll make 2 good passes down at Ocala and bring home a win. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, that would be nice. The tractor still doesn't have a name, but right now it has multiple names, so we haven't nailed down an appropriate name yet. So.
I can only imagine. So.
Yep.
Hey, Kendra, give me a quick second. I'm gonna switch from my iPad over to my phone real quick to see if I take care of that breakup issue.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Okay, we'll get into something else here quick then.
Yeah. But yeah, so Corey debuted his new 3
engine. That was fast. He was prepared.
There he goes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear us?
Hold on, I can't hear you.
You might need your earbuds and stuff for a cell phone. Maybe. Anyway, you were saying, Kendra, that's okay.
Sorry, I got to read in the comments there. I was talking about Corey's 3-engine mod. Wasn't I? What was I talking about?
I don't remember.
Corey did debut the new tractor. We're super excited about it. And we are hoping there is another debut this coming up weekend with a 2-wheel drive truck. So hopefully I'll have some exciting things to report back with next week on that.
Yeah, that's awesome. We won't say any more about that. We'll just let it happen this weekend. But absolutely, that is going to be interesting to see how that works out for somebody out of the Forester camp. We'll just leave it at that.
So we're not really sure where the new additions are going to fit into yet as far as the regular pulling season. I'm sure they'll be making a lot of He's back.
I guess the cell
Yeah,
phone.
sorry about that. When I went to switch my phone, the microphone wouldn't work, so I just went back to the iPad. So sorry.
Okay.
That's fine. No biggie. We'll get through it. We'll just scream at you so you can hear us.
Talk real slow, type things out.
Yeah, sign language.
But yeah, that's good. It sounds like it'll be some hot competition in Florida again. So
Yep.
no, I'll go ahead and wish you luck, Ben, before we get started here.
Appreciate it.
You've been down there a few times now, and usually I assume you do pretty well. I can't remember.
Yeah,
the
this will be our
results from previous-
fifth year going. I think we've gone every year since they've had the Ocala pool, at least at this facility that they're at now. But yeah, we've had pretty good success there. I think we've won like 3 different times.
So you swept it one year, didn't you?
Yeah, we the first year we went down, I think was the year we sold Dad's tractor, and that was the year I think Marty Smoky were 1-2 both nights. I think I was third both nights, and the next year I think we went down. We won both nights. I think the year after that we won one of the 2 nights, and then I think some fourths and seconds mixed in there too. So yeah, that track's been good to us. So
Good.
hopefully that'll continue.
Yeah, that's good. We got a big pulling fan here. It looks like he just had his 37th birthday Saturday. So Chris Smith will wish you a happy birthday, buddy.
Yep. Happy birthday.
Thanks for checking in tonight. So, anyway, Ben Flaherty, and I'm Ben Flaherty Jr. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and what got you started in pulling, all that good stuff. Let's take a walk back and see who Ben Flaherty is.
Well, as far as what I do, I work for Maryland Department of Transportation, State Highway. I'm the assistant resident maintenance engineer in Washington County for maintenance. So that's what I do for a day job. I have a beautiful wife, 2 kids that have slowed down the pulling operation for the past like 5 or 6 years. So we're slowly kind of starting to get back into it a little bit more. Grew up on a dairy farm. My dad was a dairy farmer. He still farms. He's retired from the dairy side of things, but he still crop farms 400 or 500 acres, something like that, corn and beans and stuff. So growing up, I was never really involved in like the ag stuff too much, other than the tractor pull side. It was always interesting. And I guess when I was 16, 15, at the ag center, not the ag center where the tractor pool was at, but there's an ag center mini dealership in Hagerstown. We purchased our 1066 that we had, that was we used for farm stock pulling and hot farm for probably 10, 12 years, I guess it is. And that's kind of where it started with that. Dad, he did a little bit of pulling like back in the 80s. Once or twice a year, the local fair type thing when they had it at the Speedway, and then they had it at the Ag Expo type of thing. But that was about it until we started getting into the farm stock and hot farm stuff. And then I guess it was 2004, 2005, the chatter started about a little brother class to the mod turbos. And we were pretty interested in that. And once the rules were set that we liked, and we jumped right on it. And I think started 2006 was the first year for the light limits. So from there, it's been. Oh
yeah, there. Look, we go.
Yeah, there's Dad's tractor there. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's where it started. And I think we had the Smokin red tractor for, I guess, about 3 years, somewhere in there. Dad, does that sound about right? 3 years, maybe 4. And we decided to get a second one. And had that for up until, I guess, about 5 years ago when Todd Lewis, the owner of the yellow tractor, a horse with no name. I'll remember that yellow tractor. Him and his family bought Dad's tractor. So yeah, it's been a fun ride. We really enjoy the light limited class. It's amazing. It's amazing how far that class has came from where it started to where it's at now. I remember going to the dyno with some people with a mod turbo, and like going back probably 8-9 years ago in that ballpark, and there's mod turbo on the dyno, and the numbers that like the mod turbos were making back then on the dyno with their 540 stuff is now the numbers the light limiteds are making with the 466s and the coolers. And it's crazy how technology and turbos and intercoolers and everything like that's came a long, long way. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a fun ride.
You see these pictures here. You got a pretty good track record at the Keystone Nationals as well. You won back-to-back championships in 14 and 15, 2014, 2015. And I got the check-in earlier today that all the years we started the Keystones in 2008. And only 2 years you've not made the finals. In all those years, only 2. And it was 2016 and 2019. And your average finish is no worse than 4th place. That's incredible.
Impressive.
Actually, you had 1 8th place finish. My bad. But for other than that, it's been 4th place or better, 2 wins, 2 championships, and 2 did make it. Call it, but that's a great track record, really.
Yeah, it's been good. I think shorter tracks help us, or at least it used to help us a lot. I'd say for at least the past like 5 or 6 years, up until maybe last year, we were usually underpowered a little bit, in comparison to like, Fast Forward, because he's usually kind of our, arch nemesis in that class for all these years. He's always the guy we've been chasing. So the shorter tracks always seem to help our trackers. So, but hey, wins are hard to come by, so we'll take them however we can get them.
There's got to be that one guy that's got to have a bullseye on his back, and
yeah, I mean it's a good. It really, I mean, if Marty and Smoky is really the reasons that we, one of the reasons we don't go to Gordyville, and not about the competition side of it is, I don't claim to be the toughest guy around, and I'm not a real big fan of being cold. So,
don't go if you don't want to be cold. Don't go to Gordyville because it's cold.
I'm not. I mean, I do drink. I do drink in excess occasionally, but other than that, I'm cold. And those guys go out to Gordyville every year. So, and they've done well. They got a couple championships under their belt out there. So it's one of those things. It's nice for us. So when they come back home, we run with them all summer long. So we kind of know how we're doing, and we kind of can gauge. So if we're right there neck and neck, then that's kind of helped us kind of see where we would stack up on a larger level like that. So now that Shipshewana is 7.5 hours away, we thought there's no better time to throw our hat in the ring and just see what happens. So
and a nicely heated building.
Yeah, they don't know how to act with that. Yeah, he's Matt was definitely very tough in that 85 Light Pro, still is out there. I mean, I was going to Gordyville from the very first year up until about 5 years ago. And there was always, I guaranteed somebody from the East going out there was going to win something.
Yep.
And they never failed somebody. Sometimes, they won multiple classes. You know what I mean? We'd win the 85 Light Pro, and then them other guys would get into 9 Light Pro. And I think Travis Eaton, he's not pulling anymore. He got a couple of wins out there. And of course, Street Boys Toy, I think one year they all but swept all the Clint's indoor pools out that way. So that was pretty exciting. But you enjoy it. There's some great tractors out in the Midwest. You're gonna enjoy that trip.
Yeah, we're really excited. I've always felt like Gordyville is kind of like the proving grounds for your class. I mean that's kind of like the Louisville or kind of like the Louisville for our type of class. We don't have anything like that where you have pullers from all over the country, truly all over the country, out west and stuff like that. So if you can pick up a win out there, or if you can make the finals really in the class, that's a success. I mean, we're hoping for good results, but there is some tough stuff out there that is really impressive.
And I really don't think you'll pull on a better track than what you'll pull on at the Gordyville.
Venue. I mean, I guess I'm interested to see. I mean, they say the Shipshewana track this will be like the 4th event on it. So I think they said this is the same dirt that they used for their NTPA hook. So
yes,
and I'm sure with the experience of Clint's group, I mean, they can turn something, no matter what it is, how good or bad, they can turn it into a quality track. So it ought to be fun.
Absolutely. How many championships do you have with Interstate?
Just two,
Just two.
1.5, I guess, if you want to call it that. We
So
man, we
that's actually my favorite Ben story right there. I was going to bring that up was the Harrisonburg finish last year. How
that
you guys
was
ended.
yeah,
Well, 2019, I guess. Yeah.
yeah. I call it 1.5, and we ended up tying. We ended up tying with Smoky for the points, and but yeah, it was pretty wild. We were in contention for it like for the better part of the year, and
Hmm.
later in the year we really started. We changed a few things on the track that we wanted to do, and I'd say probably the last like 2 months we really found a lot more power in the thing that we've been looking for. Problem is we couldn't keep it together, and we would get, if we were lucky, we got 2 runs out of it before we would crack a piston and shove it through the charger. And
Hmm.
but we were winning, or we were really close, and we were gaining points. So at that point, we didn't care how many pistons or turbos we went through. We wanted to win. And so we ended up the last like 5 weeks of the season went through 2 turbos and 7 pistons. A
Yep,
little bit
I
of head
remember
work,
that.
but yeah, the last hook of the year, it was pretty. I figured Smokey pretty much had it wrapped up. It was, I don't know, it was like we were down like 14, 16 points. One of those situations where I had to win, and he had to pretty much finish last, which the chances of me winning are better than him finishing last. Because, I
Yep.
mean, let's face it, he does not finish last very often. And if he does, there's a reason for it. And it wasn't because everyone was better. He usually broke. So, but anyway, that pretty much is what happened. We won the hook, and his tractor obviously had some sort of issues going on and favored us, but it just so happened that Acme Rocket, Ted Ingram's tractor, was not actually signed up for points. Or he signed up, but he signed up later, and he was after the
Hmm.
deadline. So if you're after the deadline, you don't actually accumulate points. So being that it didn't count, it made us tied. If he had was collecting points, then we'd have won by 2 points. But either way, it was a special comeback. Because like I say, it's been we haven't ran the points for a long time because my boys were little, and there's just too many hooks for us to make them all. So to come back and then have a year like that, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
There's a. I'm sorry. I just go ahead, Kendra.
I actually wasn't at the pool at Harrisonburg. I went up truck pulling in Center Hall, and Winky texted me, and he's like, "You're never gonna believe what happened." And and I was like, and when he told me all that happened, I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" Like, I was so happy for Ben. I'm like, "That's so freaking awesome." And then when we found out that Ingram wasn't signed up, I was like, "Hey, tying with Smokey is just as good as winning, man."
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
yeah, it is what it is. Like I say, it was either way, man. We were we were pretty thrilled.
Hmm.
And to do it like that, I mean, like, what's the chances of that happening? I mean, you know, that's it's a rare thing. It was cool to be a part of.
That's the poster example of it's not over till it's over.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
because 14 points is a lot to make up in one hook.
yeah. That's almost it's one of those things where something crazy has to happen. That's the only way it's going to happen. So
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a question here. Logger John asked, "Does the smoke tube hinder the performance of your tractor?"
I don't think so. I mean, not that I'm aware of. And we've changed from like the 90-degree bend to the 245s. I don't think it does, but I have no idea. I do know big Grand National guys like the Grand National Supers. There has an issue. I heard about Colin Ross having an issue,
Hmm.
and out of Louisville where they had just come off the dyno thing, run like a scalded dog, and goes to Louisville and lays an egg on the starting line, and they were determined that's what it was. And the story I understand was they went back to the dyno, put the indoor pipe on, and it choked right out again. Took it back
Hmm.
off, and it ran. So, but for what we're doing, I don't think it does. And if it is, it hinders everybody equally.
Yeah, I know of a pro stock that ran a couple times at Keystone, or attempted to both times, with the smoke tube on it. Just I think one time he lost the turbo, but
Mhm.
they just they don't have the tractor anymore. But they ended up just not pulling indoors anymore anywhere because of it. So that's who knows. It's weird. Hit him up, Kendra. It's all you, man. I'm gonna leave it up to you.
So another thing that I always found was interesting was Pap's old tractor, the internationally known tractor. The name behind that tractor is actually that it was an international pulling tractor. So kind of explain a little bit about that, even though the tractor isn't yours anymore.
Yeah, so I think I heard you said explain a little bit about that tractor.
Yeah, internationally known. Yep.
Yeah, so it was Amos Martin's tractor originally.
Mm-hmm.
I forget how far back that goes. I don't know if it was in the 70s. Could have been the 70s. Mid 80s, maybe. It had to have been 80s.
As in the Vikertone Express.
I think it was like somewhere in the 80s. He had it. Ended up going overseas with it. I believe that's when he went over there with Foresters.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right about that, Kendra? I think it is.
Yeah, that was always the story I heard. Yep.
Yeah, I always thought that. I think that's what it was. But anyway, that was one of the tractors got invited to one of the big hooks overseas, which is pretty cool. They had it, and then the Oldens ended up buying that tractor, which was known as Cicada as a mod turbo, and they had it for several years. They run a good running mod turbo, and then when it came for sale, we ended up buying it. I think Darren got the sheet metal back, and we showed him short block back out of the mod turbo. Of course, that was always a running joke that we left the mod turbo motor in, but
well, and that's a story you have to tell.
Yeah. If we did a lot of winning with it, I would say that's the case. But if you're not winning and you're supposedly cheating, you just better not say anything. So, but
exactly.
Yeah. So
it's okay to cheat as long as you don't win.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, we put the fiberglass hood on it and thinking for a name, and I forget. I think was it Laura? Yeah. Yeah. My wife said the thing that everyone knows Dad. So I mean, and everyone can attest to that. I mean, it doesn't matter like where you're at. Dad talks to anybody and everybody. It doesn't matter what the topic is. It doesn't matter how embarrassing it is or what it is. He will talk to anybody and ask you anything. So, and that's just the way he is. And I think that's why everyone loves him. And my wife had said, everyone knows him. So why don't we call him internationally? We call a tractor internationally known. And internationally known at the time, she had no idea of the real history behind the tractor. She was just talking about Dad because everywhere he goes, he knows somebody. Everyone knows who he is. So it fit really well. Internationally known being Dad's personality, the way he is, and then on top of that, being the fact that the tractor is actually one of very few that's been across the pond. So it fit. It was a fitting spot.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so you were just telling me today that your tractor actually originated in Ocala.
Yeah.
Which is very fitting since we're going back to Ocala this weekend.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because back in 2000, it was either 2005 or early 2005, I think it was when we got it. When it was on pulloff.com, we were looking for something that was pretty well put together, and we found this tractor that was had new binder light, sheet metal on it, steel wheels, but the sheet metal was clean. The tractor was done. It was running. It had a 466 in it, and it was in this weird ass town called Ocala, Florida. I'd never heard of. So I called, showed it to Dad, and then we got a hold of Moores, who we're super tight with. Them guys do pretty much all our motor work now. But anyway, that's another story. But anyway, talked to Davey and Dave, and was like, what do you think of this thing? It looks like it's fit, but we're green. We had no idea. So we hopped in the truck and went to Ocala, and the guy that owned it was a man named David Swift, who is the brother to Rodney Swift, who is one of the main guys with Brian Caparelli that put on the Ocala pool. So yeah, we drove down there one night and got it, brought it home, and like I say, that's only things left of the tractor is the sheet metal and the roll cage and the steering wheel from the original tractor. Like that's
Mhm.
literally it. But that's where it started, and it was just kind of crazy that when Dad's tractor was for sale, I think it might even started with Rodney again. I think he saw it and said he's got a guy that may be interested, something like that. One thing led to another and put us on to Todd Lewis, and um, yeah, it ended up that was that. They bought it, and I think Dad had some health issues there that very first year, so he couldn't go down whenever we sold Dad's tractor. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that we bought one from down there, and now it's got a home. Now Dad's tractor has a home down there, so
Yep.
it's a weird thing. It's kind of it's cool to be back after all them years, and now be a place we go pulling every year.
I think we paid $16,000 for that tractor.
What's that?
Yours.
Yeah. I was remembering we originally paid like $16,000 for the original start to Smokin Red.
Wow.
You couldn't touch it now for $16,000.
You can touch it, but that's about it.
But one hand.
Yeah, Dad said we spend that every year now.
Yeah. No doubt.
But yeah, it's crazy. Like I say, that's just one of the things about how it came. And I remember we picked that thing up. I remember in our old shop at the farm, man, it seems like weekends for months. It was me and Dad and Davey would work in our shop. And like I said, they were pretty much ones showing us everything because we didn't, we had the farm tractor. We didn't know anything else as far as the tractor pull side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, to think of kind of where it started and where it's at now is, it's pretty wild.
Long road, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Somebody was asking the approximate horsepower of your tractor. If you want to say, you don't have to tell the truth, but you can get close.
Either way, I'm gonna lie. So yeah, I honestly don't know, to be honest with you. We were on the dyno. Truthful answer is we were on the dyno probably like 7 years ago. So 7 years ago, and this was when we were pretty much at the top, right beside Smith's, and we were right around 1,300 at the time. And that was like, say, that was probably 6 or 7 years ago. That was before the much better intercoolers. That was before much better turbos, and some other stuff that's came a long way. So I really don't know. That's a question you should ask them guys.
The number I always hear.
Ask Marty and Smoky. I'm sure they will tell you. They are very forthcoming with information.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them to raise the hood and take a peek. They really like doing that. I'll tell you what, if you ask, I'm in Ocala. I'll see if I can't get a good look at everything. No, but they probably do know the closer answer. I'm guessing Smoky's tractor being on the top ones, he's got to be, I don't know, in that 1,1700 horse range. I would think has to be, because I know if we were 13.7 years ago, we're light years beyond that.
That's the number I always hear, somewhere between 16 and 1,700.
Probably the most realistic thing.
Yeah. Now, if you ask some pullers, they'll say, "Oh, we hit 1,800." Okay. Show me the paper.
Yeah, and all dynos are different.
Yep.
I've only ever been on one dyno. That was Tom Lindsay's, the Built for Business semi in Duncansville. We've been on there a few times. But like I say, my lord, that's been a good long while ago.
Oh, there's another good question. Do you see that question there, Ben?
Yeah. That really depends on the track. Anymore with the double cuts and the horsepower that the light limiteds make now, we spin the tires so much freer now. So there's very few tracks where you leave the line, wide open. No smoke. When you see a lot of tractors leaving the line, no smoke. That's, at least on our tractor, you're right around 43, 4,400, and that's usually about the ballpark area. Maybe a little less, but anything more than that, you just sit and spin. So that's mid fours.
So Ben, one question that I've thought of is, you were we'll call it founding member of the light limited class. What are some of the biggest changes you have seen both good and bad, because there's always bad changes sometimes too. So what are walk us through the evolution of the light limited class?
I don't know that there's been too many bad changes. I guess it all depends on what you're looking to do. The problem is any class continues to grow. And It doesn't matter if you're in farm stock or you're a mod turbo or a pro stock. Everyone kind of starts out wanting to do something until you start getting your butt beat. And then you want to do a little more. Then that guy does a little bit more, and it continues to go. So I guess one of the good things I do like about our class, I do like the fact that we are limited. That really tightens the competition up, because there was a good many years in our class where you had several groups of pullers. I mean, you just really did. You had your top few guys, and then you would drop back like 15, 18 feet, and you'd have another section, and it really spread things out. But over the time, that's really went away, and our class is so tight. So that's something it's taken a while to get to that point. Because like I say, we started this class in 2016, and so it's taken a while to get tractors as tight as they are now. But that's one of the best things about it. I mean, you can go very little pulling went on last year, but I mean, Kendra, now literally when you go to a light limited hook, if there's 14 tractors there, there's probably like almost all of them have a true legit chance of winning, and it's not just like sugarcoating. You can legit say that they could win, which is nice. I guess that the evolution of it is good and bad with that whole power thing and what you want to do. I mean, obviously when one guy spends something and does something, it kind of grows. But like I say, fortunately having the cube limits and the turbo limits, that has helped that. Probably the only negative thing that I think about the class is it almost got too popular for a little while. And we had so many tractors in the class. My God, we had like 24 tractors. At one point in time, we had more tractors in the Pro Farm and the Mod Turbos. It was a short, like 2 or 3 span year where we were super hot, super popular. Granted, we were super cheap too to get them to show up. And I think one thing I always complained about, and Dad and I did at the interstate meetings, was they had too many hooks. It ended up being like 30, 35 hooks, which is great. There's nothing better than having a place to go, but it all depends on what you want to do. We've always been in it for one reason, and that's to win. And that's all we want to do. And if you just want to have a place to go every once in a while, that's fine. But we enjoy the competition of trying to achieve a championship. And when you have, when you have a family and you have other responsibilities outside of tractor pulling, that's pretty tough to do. Make 35 hooks. I mean, you can, but you spend a lot of time in the doghouse at home. So I think Michael Jordan said winning comes with a price. Well, he ain't lying. So, that's probably the biggest downfall that I didn't like. But it is what it is. We have decreased here recently, which is nice, and that's the biggest reason we get in. We told the guys at the meeting we would love to get back into the points, but we got to get some reasonable things. We will travel 4 or 5 hours per hook. We don't care about the traveling. We just can't do it 35, 36 times a year. It's just
that is a lot. That's very demanding.
Sometimes we practice 4 or 5 hooks a week.
Back years ago, it used to be mid fair season. We pulled Sunday, Monday, off like Tuesday, and then hooked Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and again on Sunday. And we did that for years.
Yep.
So,
And to piggyback on what you said about how competitive your class is, I think in the year 2019 there was 8 different tractors that had a win under their belt, and that's super impressive when you're trying to sell a class to a promoter. That's impressive.
I think that was that year where I believe it was that year, and if I'm not mistaken, that was like the first 11 hooks we had 8 different winners.
Yep.
But it was the very beginning, which is, it's crazy.
And that keeps the pullers going and motivated and wants to go out and for the points race.
And that's just it. And I think that's what probably hurt our class too, some, where the more this class grew, there was there's a group of pullers that said, hey, Light Limited was supposed to be like the little brother to Mod Turbo. We don't want to get into the stuff that you guys are doing
Mhm.
now, and that's understandable too. And I think that drove some people away. But I think it's also in every division of pulling. You know,
Yeah.
it
You'll never get away from that.
no, it's inevitable. There's just no way
Mhm.
around it.
So some of the always fan favorite questions are, what is your favorite pulling track?
Hmm.
Just a question.
Yeah,
And it can be multiple if you.
yeah. I don't know that I necessarily have one. I mean,
Keystone
it,
Nationals is a good start.
yeah. Yeah, Keystone's always Keystone. I guess the special ones. Like I say, Keystone's fun. It's a cool thing where you get a lot of people and a lot of different eyes seeing it that you don't get typically won't watch. Um, Early on, probably Shippensburg.
Mhm.
Not necessarily because of the track, but there was nothing cooler probably until it got messed up there several years back. 4th of July, Shippensburg. There was nothing better than like pulling in early. They fed the pullers at like 5 o'clock. And I
Mhm.
remember we would literally get there at like 3 o'clock for the 7 o'clock event. And as you're pulling in, the entire grand side, the hillsides of both were
Mhm.
completely lined with like blankets. This is like 3 in the afternoon. And when the pool started, they played the national anthem. It was always really cool to kind of like stand up because our class is always first. We were the little babies there, and compared to the big dogs that were all there. But we were just happy to be there. Man, I didn't give a shit. But yeah, it was cool because you looked out. We were always on the track at the time since we were the first class, and the national anthem was played, and you could just see like rows and rows and rows of people. Anywhere there
Mhm.
you couldn't see grass. It was just packed, and that was so cool because it was also the only time that we get to run with the pro stocks. We get
Yep.
to see the hot rod semis, and we see the mod turbos, which we never see the mod turbos because we're rarely booked at the same event together. So yeah, that was probably the best, and it really for that purpose only. We love the bigger the crowds, the better because
For a
you don't
crowd,
get
you
that.
can't beat Shippensburg for a crowd. I'm telling you, they have an awesome crowd.
Yeah, and I would say more recently, other than like I say, other than Keystone, Ocala is really up there because that
Really?
is, and that's another thing. It's not because of the track, because Ocala's track, the guy that brings the most horsepower to Ocala doesn't win.
Mhm.
Because it's not a power track. They've done a tremendous job with making a good track out of that. Where it started with initially to where it is now, Caparelli and Swift and them guys, they've done a hell of a good job of making a good pulling track. They really have. But it's still not a power track, so you really got to get a hold of things. But the way the people are down there in Florida, um, Rodney and them guys and Caparelli would always tell us, they don't see a whole lot of pulling like the stuff that we're bringing, like the different the mods and the smoker trackers. And he was right. Like that place would be like standing room only, and it didn't matter if you were the guy that put it in the sand or if you were the guy that broke on the starting line. Man, then people were hooping and hollering and cheering when you pull off the track. I mean, everyone's waving and excited, and it's just a really cool atmosphere. You feel like around here where there's so much tractor pulling. I don't want to say tractor pulling's watered down, but it
Mhm.
is. I mean, there's so much going on in our area. Like literally, you could make the pass of a lifetime back home, and you'll get like 7 people that actually like clap. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it's because they're so used to it, and they see it all the time. It
Mhm.
doesn't give that same excitement. Man, you go to Florida and you lay down a run, you know how you did because them people are really enthusiastic.
Awesome.
Yeah, I always joke up here. I said people only cheer when you break up here. They
Yeah,
don't cheer when you
yeah,
win. They cheer when you break,
yeah, yeah.
which is kind of sad. But
It is. Yeah, it is.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I mean, being trackside all season long at various events and crowds and stuff, I actually, surprisingly, I do hear a lot of fan interaction with clapping and stuff like that, even before they're asked, "Let's give them a hand" or whatever.
Mhm.
There's some pretty interactive people that I've noticed anyway. Because
Yeah, there's
I'm
definitely a great following of tractor pulling in our
Mhm.
area. No doubt
awesome,
about it.
awesome. And just real quick, I don't cut you off here, but You guys in the chat, feel free to ask a question. Somebody just asked a question about the Florida tracks, if they were sandy or not. But real quick, I just want to tell everybody, like, subscribe, share, give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate that. It goes a long way, and we appreciate you guys coming in here. Don't be afraid to type a question here, and we'll get Ben to answer it, or wherever your question is directed. But anyway, somebody did ask. There you go. Logger John wanted to know is if the Florida tracks were sandy.
Yeah, I really don't have much experience on them though, because other than Ocala, I really haven't pulled. I haven't pulled anywhere, so I didn't. I know, it was probably 4 years ago. Smokin and guys were like running like a Florida circuit. It seemed like them guys were living down in Florida, pulling.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah, everywhere you can think of. We haven't had the opportunity to do that. I never pulled anywhere other than Ocala. But yeah, it's kind of hard to describe. It's a sandier deal, but they make it work a whole lot better than what you would think. They like I say, the guys at Ocala, man, they do a hell of a job.
Say the other two tracks that I went to, and I couldn't tell you the names of the places we went. One was like a sweet corn festival, and the other was like a big Florida Flywheelers, wherever that was. And the Florida Flywheelers, it was like clay mixed with sand. It was really a weird consistency track, but we made it work. So once you figured out what was going on, I mean, it wasn't optimal, but definitely had some sand in it. So
yeah, and that's what makes it tricky.
Yeah.
Chris actually just asked about your favorite track. He just answered that question here about 5 minutes ago. Maybe you missed it. But
well, we didn't talk about power tracks. Where's your favorite power track? Where do you find that you make the most horsepower?
I think probably the best track that we're on back home has to be Dersham's place, Union County.
Laurelton, yeah.
Laurelton, Millmont. I don't know, I think it's got like 7 freaking names. Whatever you call
yeah,
it.
they're like right there.
Yes.
Walk to one side of the parking lot of Smillmont. If you walk to this side where you pull, it's slow.
Yeah, that's for at least for our tractors. I mean, I've heard different stuff, like depending on, talking to some East Coast guys, but for where we pull, man, that place is really good. We seem to always kind of fall short on what we want to do when we're there, because it's always one of those. It's another one of those proving ground tracks where if you have your stuff right, you got to put it in the right gear, because that's huge there. But I mean, that's just a really, really good track. Easton's another one for us that's usually a killer track. For us, Easton is almost too much of a power track, because it seems like it is so aggressive with our light tractors, not the movable weight. There's just no way of not bouncing off the skid bars like twice within 100 foot, which obviously isn't what you want to do, but it's usually the nighttime. We're always pulling late there. They're usually two of the biggest consistent power tracks that run us out of power.
Okay.
So yeah, I've noticed that at Easton too. You guys, your entire class is always on the wheelie bars.
Yeah, nothing you do. I mean, we stack everything on the front, drop the hitch, increase a little bit of tire pressure. We've tried everything, and there's just no way around it. And then you just got to ride it out and hope it stays straight. And if it does, you're okay. But yeah, even the winter, it doesn't matter. You're up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, Chris, he mentioned that Shippensburg, Ocala, Florida, and the Keystone Nationals were the first 3 tracks that he mentioned. Just to answer your question real quick.
Oh, Logger John with another really good question there. How long do your tires last before you need new ones? And you're new to the double cut world, so you might not know this yet, but
I guess it all depends. We had 5 seasons out of the 2000s.
Yeah, but we could have got a couple more out of it too.
Yeah, that really all depends on how long you want to keep them and what you want to sell them for. And you can run them for a long time. I think we ran our Puller 2000s for 5 years, and we sold them this past year when we switched over to the new Pro Pullers. They were still a good tire. They were starting to show some cord. So we were kind of at that point where do you sell it now and get better money for it, or do you hang on to it for a few more years and get a lot less. And then when you go to buy new tires, you have a whole lot bigger bite you got to take off. So we opted to sell them and switch to the new ones. So, and a lot of it also depends if you touch your tires up every year. Most of us, this is the first year we didn't touch our tires up because we pulled so little. But we usually touch them up, every year. Every time you do that, that lays that edge back a little bit more and more. So that plays a big role in it too. But you can get 10 years out of a set of tires depending on what you're really doing. But then again, there's other guys that 1 year and see ya. That's just depends on how big the checkbook is and what you want to do.
Well, I guarantee you,
That's the truth.
getting two in a row like we got now, they're just counting broke in.
Dad's complaining about the Pro Puller. So any Pro Puller fans out there, I'm sorry. We are currently not necessarily super big fans of Pro Puller. We have them. They're starting to work, but the old man, he gets quite frustrated when he spends absorbent amounts of money on something that's supposed to work and you go backwards drastically. It's a long ride home, yes. But they're coming around. They'll be all right. They're coming around.
I'll say they're towards the end of the year. You guys were starting to get them figured out. So tell him to calm down there in the back.
He won't. He's already worried about these tires hooking in Ocala, and if they don't, you better just stay away because he'll be in the deal.
Good thing we're on 2 different flights home. So
yeah. And if we can't get him to hook in Shipshawana, then tires are staying in Shipshawana.
Somebody will buy them too. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Somebody will buy them. Logger John, yeah, I'm familiar with the Inwood track as far as video goes. I've never been there, but I've heard the track is pretty good up there. Yes, at Inwood, Ontario. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, we got some really good questions tonight.
Yeah, glad to see it. I want this every week.
Yeah, Ben, everybody likes you, bud.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I was worried. I was actually worried Ben would answer your question then stop. Answer your question then stop. Fantastic interview, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're a talker.
Yeah, I'm used to being on a hot seat all the time for my own job and having to explain myself no matter what I say. It's never the right answer. So
as soon as you said what you did for a living, I was like, hey,
Yeah.
But here's another good question. What's the biggest difference you think between the single and double cut tires?
The doubles hook so much better. But it is what it is. They stay hooked. They stay hooked longer. There's all around just better. I mean, now don't get me wrong. There's tracks that, there are certain tracks that the single cuts will shine. I mean, we've seen that with Hoax and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a strong runner. That's a strong motor under that hood. And there's certain tracks where they can't compete because of the tire. But there's other tracks that if it's a good track that fits in well, man, they'll put a hurting on people. But yeah, they just hook so much better.
10-4.
And
awesome.
they look better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's tough to look at a tractor and see something you used to look at 20, 25 years ago. Looks like a spade, you know what I mean? But when did that rule actually change? It hasn't been too long ago, was it?
Ooh.
At least 6 or 7 years.
Yeah,
I know. It was 2 rule changes ago. So.
Yeah, I know it was under 10 years. But.
Yeah. We wanted it sooner, but.
The powers to be.
Yes. The general said no. This is his class.
And just for everybody, that's not Lee Edwards. That's a different general. Had to say it.
The powers to be.
Yes.
So your youngins that are growing up, is there any more tractors in the future, you think, or are you just gonna share seat time? Or
I don't know. No, they're not in. No, we're not sharing anything like that. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Say they're still pretty young.
Yeah. My oldest just turned 9. The one that's really interested that would be he just turned or he's 5, getting ready to turn 6. So yeah, I don't. They got a long way to go. I don't know if we would continue.
It will be here quicker than you think.
I know. Yeah, they grew up really fast, and we'll see what they want to do. But they'd really have to want to do it because it takes a lot. It takes a lot of stupid amount of money that I could never do, on my own. Like I say, dad's the financier behind all this stuff. I mean, I make a pretty comfortable living, my wife and I, but to do the stuff that we do, like on this level, I mean, we could never do what we do, without that. So it's fun, because it's something that's a close bond between, me and dad's, super close. So I don't know. It would have to be something they really want to do, because it's quite a sacrifice, especially when there's not, their money doesn't grow on trees. And
That's
if you want to compete at a certain level, then you better be ready to pay for it.
That's good. Yeah, he's just off to the side there, folks. Ben Flaherty Senior. We got to hear him speak a couple times, but he could sneak the camera that way real quick as long as he's dressed.
He's over here petting a Saint Bernard. We got a big old dog, and he starts barking if you don't pet him. So
I got
Dad's taking care of the livestock in the living room here.
Well, that's great, man. It's good to hear. And light limited turbo tractors, it's an awesome class. It's a very competitive class, and everybody has their favorites. But I look at the fact of the whole class is on a fair track, you can't pick a winner. Honestly, in my I've seen it. Just when you think, okay, well that it could be a blue tractor, could be you, and somebody sneaks in there and grabs a win. It's a very competitive class. I've always liked it. I've liked this since day one. Other than the tires you guys started with, I was like, why? But I understand, But yeah, it's a great class, and you certainly have one of the top dogs in the hunt. That's for sure.
Well, thank you.
No matter
we
where
appreciate
you
it.
Yep, looks good, runs good, and and obviously the family's involved. That's great. It's great your dad's with you to help you out, and that means a lot.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah, you bet.
He only brings his dad for the entertainment value.
You just wait, Kendra. You know what's coming.
I know.
They allow you to drink beer at this place, so
That's it. See, that's the Flahertys I never knew. So
yeah,
I've done it for a long time.
Well, we can't do it at the most of our pools we go to. So well, I can't really, because I'm the one driving home. So
right.
Florida's a little different.
I don't want to, because Ken will take advantage of me.
Here we go.
Okay. Hey, you're gonna start upsetting her fan club. Be careful.
Filters off. This hour's up. It's 9:01.
It's a family channel.
You just wait, Pat.
I can't.
2 weekends in a row.
So how many years did your dad actually pull then?
How many years did you pull, Dad?
I don't know, 5 maybe.
Yeah, he said maybe like 5 or 6.
Okay.
And like I said, this was back in like early to mid 80s. I have pictures of like him at the speedway, stuff like that. Early to mid 80s. But then that was it, I think, right?
Oh yeah.
But then, yeah, after the early 80s, like because in 85 I was 3-4 years old. So he stopped then up until 98, something around there. So he wasn't pulling like the whole time.
I got you. Okay. Cool. I didn't know that. So you learn something. That's what it's about. You learn something every day. Very good. Kendra, you got anything else? You got a funny look on your face, like I'm gonna.
I'm thinking about Pat there in the background.
Leave that man alone.
Yeah. So Chris mentioned here, would it be okay if one of the kids brought a green tractor? And I'm thinking that's exactly what the light limited class needs. It needs a little green.
Yeah, it's fine. We got buddy. Our best friends are green guys, so
yeah,
it would be okay. And I'm not really one of those guys. Dad's the same way. We're not really one of those guys that really care about the red, green, blue thing. We're still red guys. Like we wouldn't get another one to get anything away from red, but I don't really get caught up in the whole red green thing. Once you're in the seat, I don't care what color. It can be purple. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, and everything under the hood anymore is so similar. So
yeah. I mean, all of our stuff's the same. I mean,
yeah.
Other than the block, other than that, transmissions are the same. Other than the housing, so
that's right. Pretty much.
Well, Ben, is there anything else you want to add, or?
No, I've been on here entirely too long. You told me I could get off. For like
Oh,
15
that's you're
minutes,
you're
it's
fine.
like an hour.
That's good. I'm glad you're in a talkative mood tonight. It was a
Yeah.
great interview, and we appreciate you coming on. And
Nope. Appreciate you guys having me.
good luck at Ocala. And sounds like it's gonna be a pretty good pool. And I may have to consider maybe buying some kind of a live feed or something. Does anybody have a live feed for that coming up? You think?
They usually do, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen anything advertised yet. So
Okay. Well, the more colors, the better. You're absolutely right, Chris. It's good to see a class of color. I agree 100%. You're Green Oliver. Yeah. Thank
Say
you,
that.
Toro.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. They said we had a good podcast tonight. And we thank you, Ben Senior. We was hoping to get to see his smiling face on camera tonight, but I guess we're not going to get that. So,
Here
uh-oh.
he goes.
Yeah, there he is.
Hey, Pat.
How you?
What's going on?
Good to see you. Good to see you. But, yeah, we're at that hour and 1 minute mark, so we're going to go ahead and if everybody's settled and
Yep, we got to get packing. We got a 11 a.m. flight tomorrow morning, and we're headed
oh
south.
wow, okay.
Time to get out.
Well, we wish you luck, safe travels, and
Thank you.
we'll be talking to you again. Good luck.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Yep.
See you soon, Ben.
Yep.
Take care, Ben. Wow, that was awesome. Very good.
Yep.
You
That
did good
was
on that one.
awesome.
We got to
Good
thank
idea.
Kendra for that. Kendra lined that interview up for us tonight, and hopefully we'll get her to get some more interviews. That was pretty good.
I have to round up some more friends.
Absolutely. So, well, that's about it. I got ice cream waiting on me, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the plug here. And we appreciate you all coming in here tonight, and or ye all, however you want to say it, y'all use.
Yeah.
But, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back here next Wednesday at 8 p.m. And with Ocala results, we're going to try to make sure we have everything, hopefully. And
Yep, I'll do my best.
and we'll see you at 8 p.m. Next week. And of course, that's we're getting close to Michiana too, aren't we?
We are.
We got a couple
Doing a
weeks
quick
out from
turnaround
there.
here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, and that's a huge show, and I'm sure we'll have a result. We may not have a guest that night because I'm sure we'll have a ton of results we'll want to talk about and go over.
Yep.
And we'll have an on-site reporter. So,
For the next
Well,
2 weekends, I'm so ready.
so we'll go over that, and we'll touch base again on the following weekend as well at Michiana. So, thanks for tuning in, and like, subscribe, share, thumbs up, all that good stuff goes a long ways. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.